So this is my performance analysis presentation. So I'll be completing an analysis for several badminton games played within our group. The matches were played up to 21 points. I'll most be looking at one of Scott's games from each of the 3 weeks and trying to analyse how he adapted his game to 3 different level players. So the aims are to create data that allows me to assess performance, find strengths and weaknesses in performance to support analysis, select KPIs or key performance indicators to be able to code the matches, support the analysis, and create comparisons between the different players to identify differences in performance and show how their performance could be improved. So what is performance analysis? Sports performance analysis enables the sports scientist, coach and athlete to objectively assess and therefore improve upon sporting performance. This can be done to assess both an individual and a team's performance depending on the type of analysis you wish to complete. So when completing analysis, KPIs are usually selected to code the footage. They are a selection or combination of action variables that aims to define some or all aspects of performance. It can also be used as a comparative tool against opposition teams. So to be able to get a full and objective interpretation of the data from the analysis of performance, it is necessary to compare the data collected to aggregated data of a peer group of teams or individuals which compete at an appropriate standard. So this allows a team to analyse how their opposition play so they can create a game plan and try and combat the opposition's playing style. So the importance of performance analysis. So video analysis allows an analysis to give feedback on performance. Feedback is of critical importance if player and team performance is to improve. It allows coaches to gather more accurate data with video analysis, allowing more in-depth feedback on the performance. It gives coaches a better view on performance which they measure during a match, as it provides an objective, systematic, quantitative evaluation of sports performance. And during analysis, it can become very easy to highlight big events during a match, which often leaves analysts with inaccurate data. It was found that even experienced coaches' observation recall accuracy for critical events was just 59.2%, which further shows the importance of video analysis. And finally, two-dimensional video analysis systems enable both player and coach to review performance numerous times after the event. So events can be watched multiple times, allowing coaches to collect highly accurate data while reducing observer bias to provide better feedback and improve coaching decisions. So reliability issues. One of the main disadvantages of performance analysis is a reliability issue. So when collecting data, you would want to ensure everything you've collected is valid and gives the best view of performance. So reliability means the consistency of a measure, and it is critical that users of systematic observational tools take measures that the observation instrument they select provides a valid reflection of events. So notational analysis is the identification and analysis of critical patterns and events in performance that lead to a successful outcome, and is one of the methods that can be applied within the observational methodology to determine the characteristics of a badminton game. So how does this link to the coaching process? Well, the planning stage is thought to be at the heart of the coaching process, and with performance analysis, it only helps with the planning stage, as you can plan a more in-depth game plan or strategy for your next game. So as you can see from the performance analysis process, you've got the analysis stage there, which goes into the evaluation, then the feedback, where you feedback all your analysis you've made and help form a game plan or strategy for your next game. So to create the data, I use the in-play software, as it allowed me to create tags of the different shot types. So I chose to use different badminton shot types as my key performance indicators, as these allowed me to compare the different shots between each player and see how each player uses shots to counter the other's game plan. So the shot types I picked were backhand, forehand, smash, over a clear and drop shot. So week 1, Scott versus Dan, which finished 17-11. So Scott dictated how the game was being played with the way he forced Dan towards the back of the court, which meant he could only play a defensive shot, and as you can see, leading him into 21 over clears, which was his most used shot throughout the game, as this allowed Scott to attack close to the net with a smash, in which he won most of his points. So as you can see from this pie chart here, Dan displayed 58% of his total shots as overhead clears, which shows Scott's strategy. So here's a clip. the shot map. So as you can see from the shot end map here, you can see most of the shots landed on the left-hand side, which could suggest that Scott was targeting Dan's weaker side, which could have been his backhand. So strengths for Dan. He only displayed 3 unsuccessful shots out of his total 39, so 7.7%. He forced Scott into errors, which is where he won most of his points. His weaknesses, most of Scott's shots ended on the left-hand side of the court, which means Dan was weak on his backhand. His shots were also hit towards Scott's favourable positions on the court, which was central right, and Dan was quite defensive in his shots. He could try to attack the net more often with a smash, which he didn't do the whole of the game, and he allowed Scott to dictate the flow of the game with overhead clears. So Scott used his 11 overhead clears to push Dan to the back of the court and create an opportunity to smash, and with those smashes he won most of his points by going close to the net. His weaknesses, so he displayed a lot of unsuccessful shots throughout the match, 9 out of 57 attempted shots, and he stayed mostly central to the court. So if Dan was able to move Scott around the court more, Scott may have conceded more points. So this is week 2 versus Adam. So as you can see from the data, like the game against Dan, Scott forced Adam into using a lot of overhead clears by sending him to the back of the court, and also Scott didn't display any unsuccessful shots in this game throughout the majority. So as you can see, 76% of Adam's total shots were overhead clears, which is quite a lot really. So here's a clip. So that just shows Scott forcing Adam into overhead clears, which he then finished with a smash. So as you can see from the shot map, most of the shots were put into the corners to the side because Adam was mostly static in the middle of the court and didn't really move around. So Scott's strengths, he did not miss any shots during the whole match. 55 shots were made. His smash shot was his most successful shot as he won most of his points on it. He was able to move Adam around the court by pushing backwards and targeting shots either sides of Adam, which was made easier as Adam was mostly static during the game. And finally, serves set up Scott to win a point as Adam often returned with an overhead clear. And his weaknesses, Scott could have displayed more variation in shot types, however there wasn't much opportunity for him to do so. Adam did not display any strengths really in this game, but his weaknesses, he was forced into a large amount of overhead clears, 76% out of his 36 shots. He did not really move around the court, which made it easier for Scott to pick where he put his shots, and he struggled to keep up a rally by pushing Scott back, as he usually would attack Adam with a smash to win the point. So here's another clip. So that was just a clip of Scott using a serve to set himself up for a smash after Adam's overhead clear. So week 3, Scott versus Harry. So as you can see from the data, this was a tight game for the amount of shots each player took. Harry took a more aggressive approach to the game with 17 smashes during the match to Scott's 4. This match involved quite a few rallies through the overhead clears, which could have been due to Scott's strategy of pushing Harry back to the back of the court to combat Harry's attacking approach. Harry also displayed more unsuccessful shots than Scott, with most coming from his backhand. So this is the shot end versus Harry. As you can see, most of the shots were on the left-hand side of the court, so it could suggest that Scott was targeting Harry's weak side, which is the left, which could mean he was weak on his backhand. So Harry's strengths, his aggressive approach allowed him to win more points through his smash close to the net. And he also showed a variation of different shots, something Scott struggled to deal with. His weaknesses, he had more unsuccessful shots than Scott, most being backhand, which could have suggested it was his weakest shot type. And Harry was weakest on his left-hand side of the court, where Scott won most of his points, which could then again suggest he's weaker on his backhand. So here's a clip. So that's just to show the long rallies the players had and how Harry would normally finish with a smash. So Scott's strengths, he created long rallies with over clears, which pushed Harry towards the back of the court, which allowed Scott to handle Harry's smash shots better. Scott won more points through targeting Harry's left-hand side, as this was his weakest. Harry's weaknesses, Scott's weaknesses, sorry. When Harry came close to the net, Scott found it difficult to stop Harry's smash, and Scott played a defensive game throughout, with only displaying 4 smashes compared to Harry's 17, which could suggest why he lost the match. So, after reviewing Scott's performance and how he tried to adapt his play style to different level players, several outcomes were found through the strengths he showed in each game and areas he can improve on. So the first notable difference was his approach in the different games. It was found in the games against Dan and Adam, his approach was more attacking, as he would come close to the net and hit a smash shot, which would be difficult to return. Whereas as in the game versus Harry, Scott was forced to play a more defensive game by trying not to attack the net as often as he did in the other games. This worked for Scott in ways, as he was able to sit back and return shots and create long rallies versus Harry. And a common theme throughout the 3 weeks was Scott's tactical use of the over clear shot type. It was often used as a way of pushing his opponent towards the back of the court. With this, he was then able to return an overhead clear with a smash to win points, which is something that happened quite often versus Dan and Adam. It was used slightly different against the better opponent Harry, who would try to push Harry to the back of the court to combat Harry's attacking approach, in which he looked for the smash shot. And another approach Scott took during all 3 matches was trying to target his opponent's weak points, such as their positions on the court. During a game against Adam, who did not move around the court much, he was able to hit the shuttlecock to the side of all corners of the court. And during the games versus Harry and Dan, they were found to be weaker on the backhand, so he hit most of the shots onto the weaker side. So application. In the game against Harry, Scott could have tried to attack the net more often, as he allowed Harry to control the game and counter shots over clears after a while, something he lost most of his points from. In the games versus Dan, he stayed mostly central on the court, which made it very easy for Dan to return the shots. Against a better player, or if he played Dan again, Scott may have lost quite a few points, as they would try to move him around the court, as he wasn't used to this. And finally, Scott could try to use more variation in his shot types in games against Dan and Adam. If they were to play again, Dan may have adapted his game to be able to deal with Scott's attacking strategy by forcing him into unfamiliar shots such as backhands or forehands. So these are my references. Thank you for listening.